Good morning. This is the COT data video for the week beginning the 21st of July 2025. We saw a big uptick on the Euro FX. We came from 107,000 to 128,000. So it was a big increase, and that reflects the CPI that we came out this week, and it came out quite mixed, but the PPI came in soft. And we have to remember that this data is from Tuesday. So the data is released every Friday, but it only captures what the banks had done up to the Tuesday prior. Okay, so there's a little bit of delay with the COT data, but it is what it is. It's the best that we can get access to if we're not a big bank. Okay, this is like publicly available information, but there's a slight delay. But this takes into account the CPI because that came out on Tuesday, but it doesn't take into account the PPI. Okay, so just so you know, the banks had bought the euro after the CPI. Okay, so 128,000, and the dollar has just gone sideways. So we're negative, but we just basically just treading water there. We may leap, we may like do a lunge, and it may continue higher. But we are very, very sideways right now. We're just negative, just slightly negative on the dollar. Let's look at the yen. Now, the yen had been taking a breather and is continuing to take that breather. This could well be a top now, potentially. This was the bottom, and we had a massive move off the low. And so that theoretically could be a top now. And there's the EJ long there. We had the crossover. So the big fish, the big banks and then institutions, they've been buying the euro but selling the yen. So EJ, the euro yen, could be a good trade. If you catch a good entry and you get a good timing on it, it could be a good risk to reward there. So hopefully that makes sense. We've got the crossover there, okay, and you take off the euro, put on the Aussie. Now, no doubt this is going to be sideways still, and looks like we may break this low, minus 75,000. Minus 74,000. So I think potentially next week we could break that low, and then we could see some weakness in the Australian dollar. We have to remember that the correlation with risk appetite is strong with the Aussie. So if we do see this being sold off, it could indicate a risk off scenario. Just so you are aware, we could well break this low, and I think we may even revisit that. If we break this, we'll probably come down here, but at least we'll be out of this chop, okay, because we chopped really hard. Since the beginning of the year, you can see January and March, April, May, we just kind of just gone sideways. So it'd be good to get a breakout. We get some clarity on the Australian dollar, but it could be weak if we break this low, I think. Okay, so be careful. Pound. We're starting to chop a little bit on this as well. More negative than the week prior, but just 4,000 contracts difference. So it's a mixed picture here because we're positive, we're above the zero, but we're more negative than the week prior. So not a very good signal here. What you want is something positive and more positive, or something that's negative and more negative. This is like the opposite of that. And we may get the GU, we may get the cable short. If the pound continues to fall, the dollar just goes sideways, which is definitely quite possible. We could get a pound USD sell with the crossover. Okay, so that will probably happen in a couple of weeks. Okay, CAD and minus 74. We tried to go above zero, didn't we? Yeah, I just didn't like. It's trying to go higher, but it's having like knee-jerk reactions. It's kind of hard to say what's going to happen here because we're negative and we're more negative than the week prior, so it adds to like a bearish bias. So it's definitely a hard one to forecast. Ideally, what we want to see is something that's positive and more positive, but this is negative and more negative, so it could be quite bearish. So be careful with that one. Gold's going to be of note, and the gold is stronger than the week prior. Yeah, still, yeah, so that's 202 to 213,000, so quite bullish on that. And we are just going sideways on gold. You're probably seeing that we're quite sandwiched between the supply and demand. We're just like bouncing off it, taking out a lot of liquidity in the process, taking lots of stop loss clusters. You may have seen the move uh, over the week with that Powell news or noise about him getting fired by Trump, and it really sent gold higher and other things as well. And I think what it was just a liquidity probe and a supply check. It just wanted to come into supply so it could sell at that particular point. So it was very, very tricky. We had to have wide stops in our bot, and it worked out okay. We had a really good week on the robot, which is cool, but it really, really moves. So you've got to be careful. So that's gold. So, positive and more positive than the week prior. Take gold off, and then we can look at New Zealand dollar and be positive, but it's not really doing much. It's kind of looking a little bit looking for direction, isn't it? Like I said the week before and the week before that, we kind of need to break above this high in order to get some clarity. Once we do, then we can continue higher. Okay. And last but not least, Swiss franc. We're very sideways, probably. Yes, and we are. So just to talk about the robot, what it does, it uses RSI values and uses 4 time frames. So it looks at the 7, the 14, the 21, and the 28 RSI, and it uses like a confluence of those levels. And when we get an overlap, we'll create a supply or demand, and we can see we're going into one with gold right now, and that's created because we're getting overbought on those multiple time frames in this area. So this is what I was saying about that big spike into supply with that Powell noise, and we had to have a wide stop. We were okay, I think we were about, that far away from getting stopped out. So it was a probe into supply, and it looks like it's gonna just probably potentially go sideways, and then the bot will sell when we break this red band. And what will happen is that we'll inevitably do this, because there'll be some demand down here, and there'll be some demand down here. So it'll just do this, hit some here, hit some here, and hit some here. So we'll just like do this, and inevitably we'll have like a break. It could well go this way, pending fundamentals, or we could come down here. Likewise, pending the fundamentals, because we're seeing a higher US yields, so we can see a little bit of a headwind for gold. And the sentiment obviously is going to play a big part as well, and we'll just have to see how we go. So we had an excellent week on the bot, so be sure to join us. It's free to join, but if you want to copy the bot, you'll need to sub to Patreon, and it's only $10 a month, so it's quite a bargain. So hopefully that was a helpful video, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Remember to trade safely, and have a good weekend.